Welcome to All Caribbean Entrepreneurs. If you've been ready and waiting to take your business digital and get paid online while you sip something strong on the beach, this podcast is for you. We'll hear from the Caribbean's finest entrepreneurs on topics like e-commerce, business development, brand building, social media, their wins and failures. This is the only place in the region helping you navigate the digital age from the Caribbean's perspective. This is Digipreneur FM. And now, let's give it up for the Digiboss himself, Mr. Karan Rose.
Thank you to everybody tuning in to another episode of the Digipreneur FM podcast. It is your boy, Mr. Karan Rose, and we got another beautiful episode for you today. But first, DJ, fade us out, DJ. Fade us all the way out. February 24th. How are you lovely people across the Caribbean and the wider world doing? We are headed into March, folks. I don't know about you, but 2022 feels like one of the fastest flying years already. I can't even believe that we are headed into March in a few days. Where is the time going? Since the pandemic started, I feel like, the time has been going pretty quickly. But I don't know, 2022 feels like it's some different type of energy. It does feel like some good energy. I do feel like 2022, a lot of good things are happening. Opportunities are there. And I think slowly but surely, we in the Caribbean are starting to realize that things will not be going back to normal, and that is okay because normal was not working. And now we have opportunities to do some amazing things. So I think here in the Caribbean, I think we are slowly starting to realize that there are some people who are much further ahead than others, but I think the wider public is starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, we really are not going back to pre-2020. That's not a thing anymore. So today we are going to be talking about becoming a guest contributor for a news house. And I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons why you should become a guest contributor for a news house. Now, 2 weeks ago, I made the announcement that I have officially joined the TT Newsday team of contributors. Can I get a... Bang, 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 connect! Yes, so 2 weeks ago, I officially made the announcement that I've joined the Newsday team of contributors, and I released my first article with them. There was supposed to be an article that came out last week, but last week, Thursday, or rather Wednesday, we had the nationwide blackout for over 12 hours, so the second article didn't come out, but it's going to be coming out today, actually, which is good. So my second article will be coming out. And when I made the announcement, it was met with really good praise. Cool, no problem. But then there were questions of, you're the Digiboss. What are you doing writing in the papers? What are you doing writing in the papers? And it got me thinking that, now I know why I did it, right? But it got me thinking that there are a lot of people who don't understand, the why you should become a guest contributor. What are the benefits of the guest contributor? Should you be thinking about becoming a guest contributor for one of your news houses, whether it's, here in Trinidad and Tobago, or it's your news, it's your main news houses in the country you are listening to this episode in. There are several benefits to becoming a contributor for a news house that you should think about. And ironically, it helps with your stuff online. It helps with your digital presence, right? So this episode, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should become a guest contributor for a news house. So if you are ready, let's dive into it. All right. So number 1, it allows you to establish your authority in your industry. Now, when you are becoming, or when you are working towards becoming a thought leader, we've spoke about it in the past, of a wide variety of ways to become seen as an expert or a thought leader in your space, right? And one of those ways is to partner or work with people in your industry who already have authority, or where the perception of authority lies. So like news houses are typically, and this is going to be funny saying it, but news houses are typically seen as as one of the most authoritative mediums in any country, right? They are seen as the place where the authority figures speak, right? Whether it's reporters interviewing authority figures, or whether, authority figures are guest contributing, news houses have been built up as, one of the top platforms in any country that has the authority, right? So when you go to these platforms and you now write for them, you either get interviewed or you write for them. When you become a contributor, you are now siphoning the authority that the news houses have, because remember, they are seen as one of the leading mediums, authoritative mediums in any country. So when you become a contributor for them, you start to siphon some of that authority, and you become an authority by association. You are contributing for the newspaper. People already view you they view you in a different light. So if you want to solidify yourself as one of the industry leading experts, you want to be able to go and see if you can get a column. See if you can get your own branded column. Now, I'm not a 100% pro in the news industry. I don't exactly know, how it goes with respects to your branded columns, or, just submitting your contributions and whatnot. I know that when I was in talks with Newsday, we decided that we would do a branded column. So we have a Digipreneur column in the Newsday, equipped with the logo, my image, all of that. So it's a step further than just contributing, right? But nonetheless, simply contributing, even if it's not a branded column, but simply getting your thoughts, your ideologies, your message out into the papers is going to be big. That is going to help establish your authority and credibility. You want to do that, all right? You want to siphon some of that authority that the news houses have. You want that authority by association, right? And if you can do it on one of the biggest platforms in your country, even better, right? So Newsday is one of our largest. I think they're probably the largest, but they're one of the largest news houses in the country. So to be able to jump on that platform, have a branded column where we get to bring a new element or a new medium of the Digipreneur family, the Digipreneur content. Being able to do that over our Newsday with our column is a big step in the right direction to once again pushing the authority level of myself and the mission and what we are trying to accomplish. All right. So the first reason you want to become a guest contributor is to establish yourself as an authority in your niche. Find your angle to get in there and put your message out. It doesn't matter what your niche is. It could be fashion. You should be guest contributing and talking about fashion in the fashion section or the business of fashion, whatever. Find your angle. Find your angle and reach out to your news house, a news house of your choice, and just start with trying to guest contribute. And you could guest contribute bi-weekly. You can guest contribute once a month. You can guest contribute weekly. All right, so I wanted to go, one of my goals for 2022 was to become a guest contributor with a branded column in one of the largest news houses in the country. And yeah, we were able to do that. We were able to do that pretty early this year. Now, I say pretty early this year, but the reality is that it happened because of years of work, right? To be able to get the branded column. You can get you can contribute. And it doesn't have to take you years, right? You just need to be able to, showcase that you have an angle, that you have things to talk about, you have things to contribute, and they're always looking for fresh content. And if you can provide that fresh content that makes sense, that people are going to want, then reach out. I definitely recommend reaching out and guest contributing, right? Number one way, or it's a great way to help establish your authority in your industry. Number two, second reason why you should become a guest contributor for a news house is it helps tremendously with backlinks and traffic to your website. This was reason 1B for me. So number one reason for me personally was to, again, further establish myself as an authority in my industry. But the second reason, the 1B, it's so important that I got to say 1B, is because the news houses not only publish, obviously, in the papers, but they convert those articles, to their online website to view online. That helps with backlinks. So a link back to your website, which ultimately helps drive traffic to your website and also helps increase the authority level of your website. So when the search engines are ranking your websites, backlinks is something that they are looking for as well. How many people are linking back to your website? How many people are using your website or content from your website and using it on their website and referring you? It's essentially a digital referral, right? They're linking back to your website. If you are getting links back to your website from some of the most highly trafficked websites in your country and also in your industry outside of your country, Google uses those things as ranking factors, right? So being able to get a link back to my website from Newsday is huge for my website and also is going to help with driving traffic to the website. So now think of it. They are one of the largest newspapers in the country, right? People are going to be able to, open up the newspapers, read my stuff, and see the website, and then they can, jump on their computer or jump on their phone and check my website out if they like the content, or if they're reading the digital version of the article from their website or it's on social media. Remember, it's all digital. They will be able to just simply click on the link to my website and visit my website, and again, that helps with driving traffic to your website. So that was a huge reason for me to want to even look at becoming a guest contributor, because you're always trying to find ways to drive more traffic back to your website. You could guest blog if you have other top bloggers in your industry, around the world or in any of your target markets or in your country. Guest blogging is a great way to drive traffic back to your website. here in Trinidad, we don't have many people who create content on the website because a lot of people don't even have a website, right? They typically have social media. So when I'm looking at traffic strategies to build my digital presence, guest contributing for a news house was high on the list because they are a big authority. They have one of the largest. They are one of the largest newspapers in the country, driving traffic back to the platform. A great way to get those backlinks. And again, not all backlinks are created equal. If you can get a backlink from one of the top websites in your country or in your industry, that helps tremendously with your rankings. And so the third reason why you should become a guest contributor is following up on that backlink talk and the traffic to your website. It also increases your Googleability. When you're able to now get your name out there and your content and your messaging out there, when people jump on Google and they type in a question to some content that you might have wrote on the news house, because the news houses typically are some of the most highly trafficked websites in your country, if you create content on their platform, chances are that content on their platform may do better than the content on your platform simply because they're a higher trafficked website. Google is going to rank them. Google gives them a lot of play. The search engines give them a lot of play because they're such a highly trafficked website. They're always being updated, so fresh content is coming out. So they're going to score high for SEO rankings, right? Chances are the content you create on their platform is going to probably show up sooner or higher than content possibly on your website. That's not always the case, but in theory, it typically is what happens, is that, again, because they're such a highly trafficked website, they have some of the highest authority, your content usually will show up on their platforms higher than your own platforms, right? So if you're creating content for them, it's going to increase your Googleability. So people are going to be able to Google a question or Google a query, and then they're going to be able to see your article that you wrote on whatever news house you're contributing for. And that's also great for building trust with your audience, because when your audience is seeing that, I Googled, why. So my first article was, why you should, 5 reasons you should have a website for your business. When people see that article on Newsday, that hits a lot different than that exact same article but on KarenRose.com. If KarenRose.com was the only platform that answered that question, hey, no problem. They'll take it, right? But it hits different. It hits different if they ask that question on the search engines, and an article from one of the top news houses pops up with the answer, and there Karen Rose is contributing for that news house. It hits different. There is more trust that is established right out the gate. Even if they don't necessarily, like the newspaper, just the fact. Because I know some people are thinking, but some people might not like the news house that you're writing for. That doesn't really matter. What matters is the perception. If I Google something and you answer the question, but I see that you were the contributor, you were the writer of the article for that platform, in my mind, in our mind, I trust you a bit more because you are writing for a credible platform, an established authority, right? You get the credibility. We look at you as the expert, right? So it hits different if your content is showing up on a news house. We look at you as an authority level, and automatically we just get a bit more trust in you and your brand and your business and what you are talking about when we find it on a news house, right? So it increases your Googleability, and when we do find you, it also increases our trust with you, all right? Nothing like you Googling something and the first link that pops up is your article in the newspapers. That helps in tremendous ways, helps build your discoverability, helps build your Googleability, and establishes trust. Reason number 4. So remember, we're talking about 5 reasons why you should become a guest contributor for a news house. Reason number 4 is to tap into the traditional audience. So as a part of my own strategic plan, right? Again, I'm focused on helping people go digital, and when you go digital, building your digital presence and then learning how to monetize your platforms, right? So tapping into that traditional audience, the people who are picking up the newspapers. There are business owners that are in the Caribbean are still picking up the newspapers, and that's where they go to for their source of information. Being able to tap into that traditional audience is allowing me to plant those seeds, is allowing me for those people to start thinking digital. All right? It is allowing me to help people to start thinking about going digital who otherwise may never have thought about it, right? If they're still picking up the papers and not reading the news, not reading the news from their smartphones, like normal people. I joke, I kid. But yes, there are people that are picking up the papers, right? And it allows me to tap into that market. That's still a large market across the entire Caribbean, people buying the newspapers. So that is going to allow you to get your content seen from people who may not typically use social media or might not typically, use Google to ask the right questions to find your content, right? So you want to be able to tap into that traditional audience. There's business there. There is money there. There is leads there. A lot of people just might not know what to search for on the search engines that will lead them to your content. And some of them might just use social media, for personal reasons. They might not be using social media beyond just connecting with family or immediate business associates, right? So you want to be able to tap into that traditional audience within or for your niche. And writing for the newspapers, getting your messaging across in print is a great way to go and do just that. All right. Which brings me to reason number 5. The 5th reason you should become a guest contributor for a news house is for brand exposure, right? This is going to help expose your brand. People are going to see your brand maybe for the first time. The news houses, again, because they are one of the largest platforms in any country, they come with built-in audiences. Remember, you are busy fighting up on social media. You're fighting the algorithms, right? A lot of you guys don't have your website, and some that don't create content on the websites. And if you're not creating content on the websites, you're going to have a hard time driving traffic to your website, right? So a lot of businesses and people in general are not doing that, right? So being able to write for a news house is going to help with your brand exposure because they come with a built-in audience. They come with typically the largest base of people who are going to read the content, right? So you can get your brand out there to a platform that has a built-in audience. And that's really, why the news houses or the media houses can charge what they do for advertising and things like that because they have such a large readership, or they have a large amount of people who watch their news channels and whatnot. That's why they can charge what they charge to advertise with them, right? So if you can guest contribute for those platforms, right, you are exposing everybody to your brand, your messaging, your ideology that can help drive traffic back to your platform, increase your Google ability, establish your authority, and you are doing all of that, and you're not having to pay them to advertise. Because if you were to go and say, hey, print my ad in the papers, or, I want to film a TV commercial and you guys print that on, you guys put that on TV, you're looking at a heck of a lot of money. That's a lot of money you got to put out there. And what do we do when we see ads? We ignore them. We ignore the majority of these ads, right? So ads is not always an effective way. No, it's no longer an effective way to get or tap into your industries anymore. Now, content marketing is the number one way to get in front of your ideal client. It helps you establish trust. It is social selling. It is selling without having to hard sell. Because when people can learn from you, when you can educate them and entertain them, they're going to look you up online. They're going to follow you. They're going to connect with you. They're going to want to figure out, what you're offering and how they can do business with you. And if you decide that you want to guest contribute, you can get into the news houses. And that's essentially advertising your products and services without you having to spend money to do that. And if you're that damn good and you can get paid from the news houses to become a writer for the platforms, that's another additional revenue stream for your business. So you could get paid from the platforms to give them content or to write for them. That's a revenue stream coming in. And then your content is getting out there on one of the largest established platforms and largest group of readers and watchers of your content. And you're not paying to advertise. And then you're going to go and get business from those same people reading your content or watching your content on TV or listening to your content on the radio. Because you can contribute in many different ways. You could reach out to a media house who has a TV station and figure out if you can do a 1 or 2 minute segment. Same thing with radio, right? Get creative and figure out how you can guest contribute for these media houses or news houses. I went the route of the papers because I know business people read the paper still, or they read the articles online, right? So I wanted to tap into that audience. I want that when I walk into a coffee shop or a mechanic shop, I want to see my content on the table. I want to see the newspaper that I wrote for on the table. So when I see people killing time in the mechanic shop, killing time at the doctor's office with the paper, I want to know that my content is right there, right? Educating, entertaining, me tapping into audiences that I did not have. I'm tapping into an established audience, one of the largest audience bases in the entire country. I want to increase my authority. And I'm just going to do a quick recap, right? But you want to do this. You want to guest contribute. Why? Because 1, you want to establish your authority in your industry. You want to be seen as a thought leader. You want to be contributing on a platform that has that large base, that has the authority, that people perceive as the authority. 2, you want the backlinks. Remember, these guys are going to be publishing the content onto their websites with clickable links, driving traffic back to your website. And even if the people are picking up the newspapers, they're going to be able to see your website and they could quickly jump on their phone and punch in the website or jump on their computer and go visit your website. Ultimately, it's going to drive traffic back to your platform. 3, it increases your Googleability. Remember, because the news houses they have such high authority on Google, when you publish content on their platforms, chances are that content is going to be page 1, high up on page 1. People are going to be able to find your content even easier on an established platform than they would on your platform, because chances are you might not have the same level of traffic on your website as the news houses would, right? Number 4, you get to tap into traditional audiences. Remember, there's still a large part of the population across the Caribbean that is still buying newspapers. You posting on social media, you might never tap into that traditional audience, right? Some would say, well, I don't want the traditional audience, but you never know. You'd never know who is reading. And remember, because they're publishing the content online on their websites and sharing it across social media, you want to tap into that audience. So you want to tap into the news houses. You want to get your content in the print, or if you're doing radio, great. Or if you're doing TV, contribute in any which way that you can. Remember, that content is going on social media. It's going to get shared. It's going to get commented on. People are going to be able to find you. You want to do that. And it leads me to number 5. Brand exposure. This is going to expose your brand to an audience that you've never been able to penetrate before, right? And I have to remind you, it hits different when people ask a question or they put in their query on the search engines, and the answer that comes up is your content that is found on an established authoritative platform like a news house. People are going to read it, and when they see that you were the contributor for it, you get brownie points, you get trust points, right? You get trust points. People are going to see you as a leading authority in the industry. It also helps put the minds at ease. We believe that we can trust you because you are a contributor on a platform that has and is viewed as an authority in the entire country. So I hope I provided you guys with some motivation to go and start figuring out who you guys can go and guest contribute for. There is plenty of benefits. We just covered 5, right? But we covered 5 of the most important reasons why you want to become a guest contributor. All right. So I hope that sparked some ideas for you. I hope that gave you guys some motivation to start looking and seeing where you can go and contribute, because I want you guys to establish your authority in your space. I want you guys to build your digital presence. I want you guys to build and grow the traffic back to your platforms and get the brand exposure that you deserve, because all of that is going to help with driving leads and sales to your business and help with monetizing your platforms. And a bonus, it will also help grow your social media followings, because once they start to see your content in the news houses and they see you as the authority and they're checking out your websites, that's ultimately going to get these people to come and follow you on your social media platforms as well, folks. That's your bonus. Your bonus is it will help grow your social media following as well. So if you enjoyed today's episode, 5 reasons you should become a guest contributor for a news house, do me a favor, Digipreneur family. I want you to jump on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you are listening to this episode from. Drop a review. The reviews help grow the Digipreneur family across the globe. If you can rate the podcast on your platform that you listen to the episodes on, please rate the podcast. Drop a review. The reviews, the ratings, they all help to grow the family. And if you are not currently following follow me over on social media, shame on you. No, I'm just playing. But you guys can follow me over at Karen Rose at every single platform. I am most active on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok right now. I'm very active over on TikTok as well. We're going to be bullish on TikTok for 2022, right? And we're having a lot of fun doing things over there as well. So follow me over at KarenRose.com. Follow me over at Karen Rose at all the social media platforms. Don't forget to check out the KarenRose.com website, where again, we help you with building your digital presence and monetizing your platforms all across the Caribbean. And you guys can go over to the digipreneur.fm website. All of our podcasts are posted on the website as well. You guys can subscribe to our emailing list or our push notification list over on the website. That way you never miss an episode, all right? That is it from me today, folks. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy hump day. I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care!
You've been listening to the Digiboss, Karen Rose. We hope your notepad was filled after this episode. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. The learning doesn't stop, folks. And to make sure you don't miss any gems from the Digiboss, go over and follow him on all social media platforms at Karen Rose. Folks, don't just sit there with a notepad. We need you to implement at least one thing into your business before the next episode. That's the only way your business levels up. Thanks for listening to Digipreneur FM. Now go be great.